You've been using Duolingo for 3 years. Still cannot order coffee in Spanish. Meanwhile, some guy learned it in 3 months and he's not as bright as you, objectively. So what's your excuse? I'm just not good at languages. Wrong. You're not bad at learning. You're bad at thinking. And before you close this video because your feelings are hurt, you might want to stick around. I'm about to fix you. So there is 3 types of learners. And you're going to see yourself in one of them. Spoiler, it's probably type 1, and that's your problem. Type 1 is the grinders. These people think education is a storage problem. Just keep shoveling facts into your head and eventually you'll be smart. Except that's not how brains work. That's not how anything works. You know what we call someone who memorizes the entire pharmacology textbook but doesn't understand drug interactions? Dangerous. Or a first year medical student anyways. Type 2. The pattern seekers. This is better. At least they figured out that beta blockers all end in lol for a reason. They're making clusters. Small clusters. It's progress. But is it optimal? Not even close. And type 3, the wizards. These people see the mechanism before you finish describing the problem. How? While you're memorizing what a specific drug does, say digoxin, they understand how cardiac glycosides work. And boom, they've figured out 20 drugs at once. They're not smarter, it's just their brains just aren't organized like a hoarder's basement. So here's your problem. You're treating learning like a linear process. There is an input and there is an output. Study more, no more. That's not how cognition works. That's not how anything biological works. So learning compounds like interest, like cancer, like addiction. The more connections you make, the more connections you can make. Linear learners ask, what do I need to memorize? Exponential learners ask, what's the underlying mechanism? One builds a symptom list, the other understands the pathology. Imagine you're trying to reach the top of a mountain. The type 1 learner, that's you, takes the stairs. Step by step, looking very industrious. Your mother is proud, you wind it. Meanwhile, the exponential learner is in the parking lot, building a helicopter from scratch. And you're judging them. Why aren't they climbing? But I'm being so productive. You're confusing activity with progress. And this is a classic mistake. 6 months later, they're having lunch on 5 different peaks. You're still on the stairs, telling yourself that slow and steady wins the race. It doesn't. That's a lie we tell slow people to make them feel better. So let's get back to Duolingo. 3 years, still incompetent. Let's figure out why. Linear approach is memorize 10,000 words individually. Brute force. How's that working out? Still cannot order coffee. Surprising no one, by the way. Your brain is not a hard drive, and you're treating it like one, and that's why it fails you. But what if, and stay with me, what if you actually thought about it? Notice that every Spanish word ending in sion is just an English word ending in shon. So nation would be nación. Station would be estación. Emotion would be emoción. One observation, and then you have 400 words unlocked immediately. Then you notice that all verbs that end in AR, like hablar, to speak, conjugate the same way. Another pattern, boom, 1,000 verbs. Same brain, same time, but different strategy. So one person now is conversational and the other one is still asking where the bathroom is, except they cannot even do that correctly. So here's what's actually wrong with you. You're treating the subjects like they're in quarantine. So French over here, chemistry over there, pathology in the other room, every subject in isolation. There is no communication. So starting from scratch every single time like you have anterograde amnesia. Exponential learners understand that everything connects because, and this might shock you, reality doesn't organize itself by your college course catalog. So now you learn how feedback loops work in physiology. Congratulations, now you understand addictions and market crashes. One principle, infinite applications. But you didn't see it because you are too busy memorizing each one separately like they're completely unrelated. They're not. Almost every field has about 20% of principles that explain 80% of what happens. Medicine, 5 disease mechanisms cover most pathology. Music is 12 notes, infinite songs. Cooking, 5 techniques, any cuisine. I need to know all 20,000 drug names. No, you need to understand 6 classes of mechanisms. Then the names make sense. It's like memorizing every chess game ever played instead of understanding how the pieces move. Which approach sounds more logical when I say it out loud? See, you know it's wrong, so stop doing it. So here's the solution. It's just one question, and you need to ask yourself this question every day. What's the one thing I could learn that would make everything else easier or even unnecessary? Want to be more productive? Linear thinking says try 50 productivity hacks. Exponential thinking says fix your sleep. Because when you're not sleep deprived, you don't need 49 of those hacks. They were just compensating for being tired. Want to learn faster? Linear thinking says master 20 study techniques. Exponential thinking says understand how memory consolidation actually works at the neurological level, then design your own system. So one makes you dependent on books, the other makes you dangerous. Most people push dominoes one at a time. Smart people find the first domino and let physics do the work for them. It's called leverage. Your brain is a network. Neurons that fire together, wire together. You probably learned this in high school biology. So 5 facts sitting alone, it's zero connections, zero value. Just sitting there, listening to Radiohead being useless. Network value equals n times n minus 1 divided by 2. So if you have 5 pieces of knowledge, you have 10 connections. If you have 20 pieces of knowledge, then you have 190 connections. This is why some people have a constant aha moments, and then you're still struggling with basic concepts. Their knowledge has friends. Yours is having a party where nobody talks to each other. If you think about it, everyone nowadays competes on effort. I'll just work harder. Yeah, okay, hamster's wheels over there. But exponential thinkers play a different game, man. They invest time up front. So week one, they look slow and you feel superior. But month one, they catch up. You're getting confused. Year one, oof. The difference? They understood the game. You're just working hard and hoping. Here's how to think exponentially. Ask yourself, what is the pattern behind the pattern? Don't just notice that beta blockers end in lol. Ask why. Understand the naming system, and now you can predict drug classes you've never heard of. Study the exceptions. When a rule breaks, that's where the real mechanism is hiding. Exceptions aren't annoying, they're diagnostic. The weird case that didn't respond to treatment is teaching you something. Pay attention. Connect across domains. Every time you learn something, ask, where else this is true? Your relationship problems have the same structure as acid-base imbalances. Both are about equilibrium and compensation. Then teach it to a 5-year-old. If you can't do that, you don't understand it. Real understanding is simple. Complicated explanations are just confusion. Find the root, not the leaves. Treat the cause and not the symptoms. And this applies to learning too. Don't trim the branches, dig up the root. It's more work up front, it pays off forever. And here's the part where I tell you something you don't want to hear. You're probably learning linearly right now. And it's not entirely your fault. School taught you this way. They raised you on flashcards and multiple choice like wolves raise the cubs. Except wolves are better at preparing their offspring for survival. But you're an adult now, theoretically, which means you get to choose. Pick one thing you're trying to learn. Just one. Instead of asking, what do I need to memorize? Which is not a smart question. Ask, what would I need to understand to make everything else obvious? And spend 1 week on that. Not memorizing, understanding. Find the mechanism and find the principle that unlocks everything else. And this isn't optional if you want to be competent, by the way. This is how competence works. While everyone else is adding, you'll be multiplying. They'll take the stairs, you'll build the helicopter. That's exponential thinking. And it's a secret because most teachers don't understand it themselves. But now you know. The question is, are you actually going to do something about it? Or are you going to go back to your flashcards and pretend this conversation never happened? See you next time.